Hi, my name is Kira. Um, I wanted to record this video to share my experience with my first ever breast MRI. I'm a fairly sensitive person when it comes to touch, and I have not undergone very many procedures at all in my life. So as soon as I knew I was going to have a breast MRI, I started searching YouTube for videos, and my experience only ended up being slightly different than the videos I saw, but I didn't actually. When I came out of the machine and told the nurse my ears popped, she said, "Really? That's a first." And I couldn't find anything on YouTube about it, so I thought I'll record a video telling of my experience, so that might help somebody else who is going to have this done and's never done that before and never done very many things before and was, a little anxious about it, and share my experience with the ears popping. Anyhow, just quickly at the beginning here, I'll say that a breast MRI can be used when you already have a diagnosis of breast cancer, which I do not, but it's also used to screen, high-risk screening for cancer in people that have a higher than average lifetime risk of getting breast cancer. And of course, that's something you decide together with your doctor whether you want to have a breast MRI versus just a mammogram. I might do another video on why I chose breast MRI over mammogram, but that's like a whole other story. I had it done at Vernon Jubilee Hospital in Vernon, British Columbia. I'm in Canada, so because higher than average risk, I qualified to have a breast MRI, and it didn't cost me anything. It was covered under government insurance. I had IV for contrast. A breast MRI, they said it only uses like 10 milliliters of contrast, and I have been an avid blood donor, so I was fine. I'm like, hook me up. So I was fine with the IV. And based on the videos for YouTube that I had watched, I was not surprised that I would have to lie face down on a form with 2 openings for the breasts to hang through. But the videos I had seen online had you backed into the machine. I went in face forward, but the end of the machine is open, so I had no problem with claustrophobia. It was well lit. There was a fan blowing, just like, in an airplane, you have the little fan that blows on your face. So I was very comfortable in the machine. They gave me earplugs. They put earplugs in, and I had said, this is funny because I said, oh, just like the David Bowie concert in 1987. When I was young, my mom was a huge David Bowie fan, and she took me and my brother. She said, if David Bowie ever comes to Vancouver, we're going. And she flew us down to Vancouver from where we lived, and we went to see David Bowie at BC Place Stadium for the Glass Spider Tour in 1987. And my dad had given us some of his industrial earplugs. He was a mechanic, and it helped for sure, because you could still hear the music, but like when you're in the cheaper seats a bit, you're way up. You've got huge speakers hanging down, and like it's so loud. I'm so glad we had the earplugs. Well, the MRI is quite loud too, so the earplugs made all the difference. Of course, I still heard all the noises. It was actually kind of funny because I was lying on my chest. I could actually feel some of the noises like vibrating in my bones. So it really did feel a bit like a rock concert. I don't know if you've ever been to a rock concert that's so loud. Do you feel the vibration in your bones? Well, that's kind of like the MRI, but there was no, like, it's not much. The earplugs made all the difference when it came to, like, my ears were fine afterwards. Thank you for the earplugs. So when the nurse said, okay, you lie down, you put your face in this form, she says, just like when you get a massage. Because I'm fairly sensitive to touch, really sensitive to touch, I've never had a massage, ever. That's not to say that, like, my husband hasn't, like, given me a bit of a rub here and there, but, like, I am so sensitive to stuff. I've never had a massage. I will never have a massage. So, but she's right. You put your face in the thing. I've seen massages on television. That's exactly what it was like. So my experience was that the MRI machine did make different noises at different times. It was obviously cycling through different tasks. The nurse had said they won't talk to me during the procedure because it's so awkward. It's not like I can respond, and you feel like this. As soon as somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing?" you want to say, "I'm fine," but you're not supposed to be like talking or moving in the MRI machine. Something I really noticed was because I was lying on my chest, I was so conscious of my breathing. So I was like really just trying to breathe shallow, and not move too much in the machine. Like I'd never been so conscious. I mean, I've done yoga, so I've paid attention to my breathing, but of course with yoga, you're doing deep breaths. So I was really trying not to breathe too deeply because I'm on my chest, but I felt like I was breathing a lot the whole time and maybe moving, but they never said anything. She said they would take some pictures or they would do a scan, and then they would put the contrast in and do another scan, something like that. So I never even felt when they did put the contrast in the IV, never felt a thing to do with that. But at one point I felt, it wasn't like electrical shocks. Absolutely not. But you know how you take a balloon and you rub it on your hair and you've got the static on the balloon, it'll lift your hairs up. None of my hairs moved, but that feeling of your skin when you put the staticky balloon next to the hair rises, but you actually feel it pull on the skin. I almost felt like I was getting little touches like that. It was very subtle, but they started with a certain noise and then they stopped, and then there was other noises and I didn't feel that sensation, and then there were some noises again and I felt the sensation again. I felt it down my spine, and I mean, I don't think that's unrealistic. The nurse again kind of said, "Oh, it felt like I had some, not like a shock, but something, some zaps." And I think zap is a bad word again, because it's not like it's not like I was getting electrical shocks in there, but like I just felt movement and all down my spine during one point in the MRI, and then my ears popped. And she just said, "Really?" Like she just thought that was just weird. Like, no, I shouldn't say she thought it was weird, because she didn't say it was weird, but she definitely gave me the look like, okay, like, really? And she had said about the ears popping, that's a first. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm sensitive. The whole experience was fine. I had no problems, zero pain, zero annoyance from the noise because I had the earplugs in and could still hear it, but it wasn't intense. The vibration just made me, in my bones of the sound, just felt like a rock concert. So I was happy the whole time, but like I didn't imagine that feeling along my spine. It's magnetic resonance imaging. Like if you're a highly sensitive person to touch, you might feel something. It's not a bad feeling. It actually, I was happy and relaxed, and just the only tension I felt was really that, and I've been tense before. So I don't think this zappy feeling was because of tension, because I've been in the dentist chair where like they're drilling your tooth and I'm tense as, I'm really, so of course, I don't think it was in my head. I don't think it was tension. I feel a little defensive because in my life as a highly sensitive person to touch, I've definitely had a lot of people dismiss me for my feelings. People in my life have that aren't as sensitive. For example, someone in my life was, a mammogram takes 2 minutes. Why would you spend 20 minutes in an MRI instead of just 2 minutes having a mammogram? And I thought about doing a whole video on this, but I might as well just say now that the reason why I didn't want a mammogram is like, if I have, I do breast self-exams, and if I feel something and I go, "Oh, what's that?" and I check it out, and this is me doing my own exam, I'm not pressing hard, I'm not trying to cause myself pain. That spot I checked out will hurt for about 3 days. Like, be noticeable, ache a little for 3 days. And I haven't even caused myself a pain, because I wouldn't press anything hard enough to give myself pain, really. But it hurts just that I pressed on something. For like 2-3 days later, I still feel it. And I was afraid a mammogram, that kind of compression, even if it's tolerable for 2 minutes, some people take ibuprofen ahead of time because it's going to be painful. And I didn't want to hurt for 2 weeks. Whew, squish it so much that I hurt based on my level of sensitivity, based on my pain thresholds. It's not the 2 minutes in the machine, it's the week to 10 days afterwards that my boob still hurts. So I just didn't want to do it. And maybe, like I say, you need to talk to your doctor about your choices. And I'm grateful that my doctor listened to me and was able to say, well, you've got these high risk cancers, you can have a breast MRI that is not painful. And it was not painful. And even the noise, because of the earplugs, that was not painful. All it was a lot of sensations. And so I hope this video helps somebody who's going to have a breast MRI that has any nervousness. Additionally, there is some history of Meniere's disease in my family about inner ear problems. Meniere's disease is an autoimmune disease, but it does affect the fluid and pressure, maybe based on inflammation. I'd have to read up on it. I don't have it. It's just people in my life, in my family, I do know at least 2 who basically have it. That's the only thing I could find on the internet about ears popping and MRI was maybe if you have some inner ear issues, pressure, just like going in an airplane, your ears can pop. Whether they pop a lot or whether they only pop once during a flight is just based on your particular ear. So my particular ear, it popped in the MRI, not painfully, just a releasing of the pressure and that weird touch sensation down my spine. And certainly my muscles just felt a little twitchy. I've never had acupuncture, again, because I'm super sensitive. I don't see myself ever having acupuncture. But, I've heard, they put the needle in and you get a little, So I think that's what the zap feeling was just like a twitch. So I felt twitchy. And like I say, it went kind of down my spine. But otherwise it was a fine experience. And I want people to know that we're all different. And I've certainly felt in my life that some people in my life, if that's not their experience, and I'm a little dramatic, so I've definitely been told, oh, you're so dramatic about these things. But, any procedure, especially if you're getting an MRI because you've actually had, there's a diagnosis of breast cancer. That would be even worse than my experience of I'm just looking for, they're just providing me some really quality screening because of my risk factors, not because I felt anything or they've seen anything that's a problem. But super sensitive to touch, so I was happy to do an MRI because start to finish it didn't take that long, and it was just a trip into the bigger center of Vernon for the MRI. So it was like, it was just kind of an outing because I live a little ways out of town of that area, and so it was okay, and I was glad to do it. And I'm not sure if I do qualify to have it done every year instead of a mammogram, or if the pressure is going to be on next year to just get the mammogram. I just don't see myself doing that. So anyhow, just want to share my experience. Thank you.